Hi, Roman is here and welcome to the Get Cracking podcast. We are on the mission to healthy accelerate each one of us to happiness. And today we have another wonderful guest, Rebekka. Hello.
Hi, thank you for the invitation.
Tradition of our podcast, as always, in the very beginning, we give the guest opportunity to introduce themselves in 60 seconds. Are you ready?
I have to be, right?
You have to be born ready. Okay, Rebekka, floor is yours.
All right. Hi, my name is Rebekka and I'm a talent acquisition specialist by day and a career coach by night. I work with a Finnish SaaS company where I'm responsible for recruitments and partner with decision makers on anything related to new talent. And I founded my career coaching business to especially help immigrants to help their dream job in Finland, because I struggled with that myself every part of the way. I came here in 2017 and I was employed, I was unemployed, I became kind of an entrepreneur because I absolutely did not manage to find a job in a Finnish company. Then I changed my careers and now I've found my happy place, I would say, in recruitment, and I want to help others do the same.
Amazing. I think it is less than 60 seconds. I was counting time. What a wonderful introduction, and I'm happy to hear that such a great mission you have and such a useful position, and then you really help people. And I think I'm immigrant myself, and I know it's not easy to. But why don't we start maybe with you? How did you figure out that maybe recruitment is your field?
I think in the classic way, all recruiters always say, they fall into recruitment. Yeah. Nobody actually ever plans from childhood to become a recruiter.
Yeah.
So I was working in a German online marketing agency and they had an internship program. So they asked me to manage that. So I interviewed students, I reviewed applications, I hired them, all the contractual work. And that's how I figured out that I really like that. So I started to read any kind of books, do online courses, follow thought leaders on social media and learn everything I could about recruitment.
Do you remember, what was special about you that they've asked you to help them with this thing? Did they notice something?
I guess because I was good at conversations.
Okay.
And we were a very, very small team. So a lot of people there were mostly content creators, so writers. So maybe they saw that I was someone who could maybe talk to people.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why they asked me.
So the communication, it might be one of the pillar for successful career in recruitment. Is it true?
Definitely.
So then straight away, follow-up question, how are we getting better in communication?
Oh my God, that's a big question. I would say the most important thing is to always communicate.
Yeah.
You cannot learn it in theory.
True.
You have to communicate, but you have to also reflect on your communication. After every conversation, you can think, okay, what did I do good? Was I curious? Did I make my partner feel good? What could I improve? And of course, there are kind of conversation techniques that you can study and you can learn and incorporate. But I think the most important thing is to just do a lot of communication.
Yeah. And also I think we would maybe try to enjoy the communication.
Definitely.
So I've met some people that they're pretty good in, let's say, communicating, but I just watch them and they're not enjoying it. They're just forcing themselves. And then if I read this, I kind of feel uncomfortable because I feel that they're faking it. So I think we also need to learn to truly enjoy producing the sounds and then being on the same side with other people. Yeah,
definitely, that's so important because people pick up if you're just faking it, so you have to truly enjoy
no fake communication,
be genuinely curious about who you're talking to.
Great. But now I think all the listeners would be interested. So what are the elements to be hired? So how you get hired?
You mean in general how you get hired?
I think you are the expert, let's say, from hiring people. So yes. if I want to get the new job, so what are the things that I really need to get right?
Okay, let me try to put it in very short form. So of course, first you need to spike interest in the people who make the decision. So recruiter and hiring manager classic way is with CV application, or make yourself findable, for example, on LinkedIn. If people, recruiters also do a lot of searches and approach people who did not apply. So make sure that your profile sparks curiosity.
But how do you spark the curiosity? So is it, I don't know, pictures need to be cool, or what is the way? How do you spark this?
There's no one-size-fits-all answer. So it really depends on you, on your field, on the position you're targeting. You need to be clear on what you want. Yeah. So you cannot say, I can go to sales, I can go to recruitment, I can go to HR, and I can be a developer. So target it to one thing, ideally. Being really specific of the desire. Be as specific as you can. Yeah. So you can put the right keywords, you can showcase the right experience and skills that you have. So it sounds that actually the application for a job happens one step before. So it can. I think you need to do the self-work, trying to understand, so what I want to do, where I want to, what is the position. So I decide for myself, and then I kind of prepare for application, right? Yes, that's the ideal path. Yeah. And how do you see? So nowadays, in Helsinki region, and then your applicants maybe particularly, do they get it right? Or do you still see a lot of people that, hey, I can be everything for you? Yeah, that's one reason also I started the coaching, because I notice a lot of people are maybe not really clear on what they want, and they think, I can do that. Yeah. And that's probably true. But the hiring teams also pick up on if you're not really clear what you want to do. So it needs to be more targeted and specific. You need to have your path figured out for yourself. Yeah, but this is clear. I think this is one actionable step for everybody who is looking for work. Be very specific of your intentions. Decide for yourself, and then project it further for recruiters and the hiring managers. Exactly. If I decided, this is me. I want to work, for example, in sales. And this is my CV. It maybe stands out. This is my LinkedIn. What are other things that I should do or I can do to kind of, help myself? In Finland, you have to network. Okay. How do you network? Finland is such a small place, so there are so many events or meetups, breakfasts, or even online groups in LinkedIn, for example, where you can meet relevant people. You can follow these people. You can comment on their posts. You can message them. You can meet them offline, but just remember not to, start like, hi, I'm X, I need a job. Do you have one? Never do that, please. Just start with a bit of meaningful conversation, build a relationship, so that people know you and kind of connect you with something. So that helps a lot in application. Is it valuable also to share what kind of problems that I'm ready to solve to organization? Of course, that can never hurt. Yeah. If you think you've identified problems the company has and you can solve them. Yeah. But in Finland also it helps to be very specific with what you can do and what you have achieved. Not to say I'm a great salesperson, because Finnish people in general want, kind of proof of why you are a great salesperson. Yeah. So, and then also maybe something else about this networking with the LinkedIn. It's quite comfortable. You can find these common connections of the connections. So in theory, like if I want to apply for some job and I have the connections to the connection, so I can ask for the introduction to the introduction. So I don't need to know the person, right? You can do that. Would it be useful? It can be useful, yes. I do that sometimes, but of course, if I know the person only because we are LinkedIn connection for some reason and we don't really have a relationship, then I usually say, okay, I cannot help you with this because I don't have any rapport with this person. But if I know them outside of LinkedIn as well, or through LinkedIn, but we had conversations and we, know each other, then I would definitely do an introduction that you can talk to this person and connect each other. Right. Okay. So this would be another really practical advice from you and from me. So the networking, and then finding the people, your connection, and then maybe really meeting people. Very good advice. But maybe the question is, what if I'm introvert, and then you say you go networking, and I'm introvert, and I don't want to go networking. What should I do? I'm introvert.
Okay.
And I know it's a lot to ask to, go to a meetup and say, hi, I'm here. You have to know yourself maybe.
Okay.
And do some kind of mindset work around that. So of course, first you can do the LinkedIn thing. You're online, you're kind of, behind your laptop. You can start messaging people and then you know them already when you meet them in person.
Mm-hmm.
That's maybe easier. Or if you cannot do that, then maybe a good thing to remember is that in Finland, at least, I think people are really easy to approach, even though you have to approach
Mm-hmm.
them because they're not going to approach you. But once you say, hi, I'm Rebekka and I'm super interested in your company because XYZ, then they're usually really happy to talk and really nice and helpful. So maybe if you kind of have that in mind, it's a little bit easier.
And this is so much true. Recently, we had a same conversation with the co-founder of the company that I'm working as a co-founder as well. So we work with influencers, and we recently understood that because Finland is rather a small place, our networks with him is kind of big enough to reach to most of the influencers. So if I would need to kind of sit down on a certain table with a certain actually influencer person, then I can find the way through to this because the community is small.
Mm-hmm.
And now, based on experience, I can say that yes, they're willing to sit down. You just need to find the correct. So it's literally the same as you say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has worked out well for you.
At least, yeah. Sometimes.
That's nice.
So even though if I'm introverted, extroverted, there are ways. If you put it as a task, you can do it. Okay,
you
got
can
it.
Definitely do it.
Is there any other tips you would give based on your experience for people who wants to get hired?
Well, once you get maybe to the interview stage,
Okay.
it's important to show who you are as a person. Of course, you want to sell yourself as well, but don't make it too selly. There's also a lot of cultural differences involved in that. I know in a lot of parts of the world, you should a little bit exaggerate and put yourself in a really good light and, use very nice words.
Yeah.
But here it's much more down to earth. And I've been in a lot of interviews where then I got the feedback from hiring manager, for example, like, what were they actually saying? Like they were talking so much, but I didn't actually get anything like meaningful. So remember that, like take out the fluff, show yourself as a person and sell yourself in a way that makes sense. Show the numbers, show your achievements. I think that's very important. And
then also another example from my experience, once I was over-prepared for the interview. So then as a feedback, they said like, we thought that maybe are you either over-prepared or you're either overconfident, and we kind of didn't really like it. And I was like, okay, but I was really prepared.
Preparation is a really good thing. I think I don't know if you can be over-prepared, but
I think this would happen to me.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, just, try to be natural. Of course, you're always nervous. Something depends on it for you on this conversation, but try to smile, be approachable, show your personality and take it as a conversation, not a interview. Think of it as a conversation. And also, I feel like depending probably from the position, but then the recruiter and the hiring manager, they are also humans and they understand that people are stressed at the interview. So it's kind of no problem. It's fine to be stressed. Everyone is stressed. Okay, good. And then now we are moving to the next set. So me as a co-founder, and also I used to be a hiring manager. So how you hire? How do I find those, gems? That's another good question. Right now we are in a nice situation for hires that the market is kind of, in a downturn. So there's more talent available in the market. Yeah. So we see that we get more applications to our job. Few months ago or last year at this time, you would have to really actively go to LinkedIn, find profiles, approach them, and that takes a lot of time. It's a little bit like sales. So you can do that, and that is usually done for tech talent still today. So you have to, as a recruiter, have to put a lot of work in to find these people. But else, of course, we try to judge the applications fairly and try to find the people that we think are best fit for that role.
By the way, you also mentioned that, the market overall on the downturn, so it is easier to hire than to get hired. Is it also connected with all the layoffs and people are losing the job? And also I've lost my job like half a year ago.
Sorry to hear.
But I mean, it is actually something good that happened maybe to me. So now I'm on a new adventure. And then, so everybody who is listening, it is, the life gives you good things. And then also the seasonality. We are recording this in middle of August, and hopefully the episode goes live in a couple of weeks. So do I read it correctly that now it's going to be more recruitment? So the positions will be opened and then there will be more opportunities?
I do hope so.
Okay.
I mean, traditionally in Finland, of course, summer is very slow.
Yeah.
Almost no one is hiring. And then in the autumn it picks up. I hope that it will pick up a little bit more than it is now. But I've already seen more positions being posted on LinkedIn, for example.
Already now.
So I'm in a good hope that this will pick up.
Okay, this is a good news. Great. So what is then on the same topic? So while I'm hiring, so it is really popular term hire for culture fit. It was, and now it is transformed to hire for a culture ad.
Yeah.
Would you expand on this? So why should I hire for a culture ad?
That culture ad comes from the diversity, equity, and inclusion direction. So it has been scientifically proven that diverse teams are more productive and more successful. So from an entrepreneur's or company's viewpoint, that is kind of your motivation to have a diverse team. So you're looking for people who are not the same as you already have, but they add to what you already have. So that is meant by cultural ad.
So they bring something new.
They bring new ideas, new background, new perspectives.
Yeah. Is there any indication of, let's say, overall happiness for the companies who are, acting towards diverse kind of teams?
Yeah.
Do people feel better?
I think so. At least in studies, it has shown that also, employees are happier in the more diverse surroundings or environment. That also is connected to the productivity, because happy people are better employees overall.
Yes, and better people, and then they live longer lives, and they feel happier, they live nicer. So this why we are actually started the podcast. Accelerate each one of us to happiness. Happiness is the core at all of it. So why do you even need to work? If you're not happy, let's say.
Exactly.
So Christian was also on the podcast. He's the HR director, and then also he's a big advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And with him, we had a small discussion about HR, or let's say, people functions, and then the recruitment functions, the talent acquisition. So what do you think? So how it should be in the bigger organizations?
I think it's good to have one people function that incorporates recruitments or talent acquisition and HR, but in different departments, because we do different things.
Yeah.
I mean, talent acquisition is focusing on bringing new employees in. HR is focusing on the existing employees. So obviously it's different things, but we have to work very closely together. Like HR has the information and the data that, do we hire good people? Are people happy here? Is our recruitment process successful? So talent acquisition cannot really work without that information.
True.
So we have to be in very close cooperation among us.
But now the tendency is that it gets separated. So I feel that it is good, like you've mentioned, it's really different type of work, and it's really different skills needed, and expertise are different. But if it gets separated, will there be a point that it's too far, that you cannot find the common grounds anymore, or you lose this touch, a link? So do you see this as a difficulty?
I do. I do not have the experience personally, because I have worked in organizations where it's quite closely connected.
Yeah.
But I do see the danger that if they are too far apart, that they don't interact with each other, and then talent acquisition brings in new people, HR manages the people, but nobody knows are we having the right people, or what kind of skills do we need in the future? Who do we need to hire? So that's a danger I see there.
Cool. Got it. Thank you for sharing your perspective. Are there any resources you'd like to share before we move to the next topic? Any resources you'd like to share, or people you look up for in the recruitment field?
Oh, a lot.
A lot.
A lot. maybe I just share the ones that are kind of in the public sphere so that other people can follow them as well. Katrina Collier is one. She wrote a book, or actually I think 2 books already, about human-centric recruitment. So I really admire her approach. And then there is Lou Adler and Matt Alder. So they have kind of very similar names. I hope I
do they work together or is it 2 separate?
No, they are totally separate people, but they both have podcasts and they are kind of very, very experienced in recruitment. So they are probably in their 70s and they have worked in recruitment for 40 plus years. So you can really learn a lot from them as well.
Super. We'll add the links to all these resources to the show notes. Please go check those out. So I think it's some valuable information. And then, Rebekka, you are the resource yourself. So you are the coach and also you are quite active in LinkedIn. So I was hoping to discuss with you maybe this aspect of your professional personality. How did you start? From where did it come to you that, hey, I need to be, posting in LinkedIn and be a coach?
Okay. Well, I wanted to be a coach to help immigrants specifically because, of course, in my day job, I can kind of give tips and, but I'm responsible for the company's interest. I cannot, push a single person with extra insights. So that's why I started the coaching so I can, focus on individuals who need help. Then the LinkedIn, I've been on LinkedIn for a while and, everyone always says you should post, you should be active. I started posting maybe 2-3 years ago for a little, but I stopped it again, But then when I started the coaching business, I thought, okay, of course I want to promote it somehow, but also I want to give some tips and insights to people, also for free, not everyone can afford a coaching session. So that's how I started. And I saw actually that it's not so difficult. And I've been posting now for 6 months or so, twice a week. And oh my God, it's really worth it. Like I've learned so much and I have grown such a great network. I get so many contacts through that. So many amazing people who approach me and, it's been really great. So I can just join the people who recommend you to be active on LinkedIn.
100% agree. And also I've started, sharing my knowledge through the podcast and through the LinkedIn as well recently. Also really support the idea of sharing. And then something I've heard, it's maybe not my thought originally, but I kind of really resonate with it. Somebody said that we should be giving all the information and the value for free. So the knowledge, we can just give it out, but then implementation, that's what costs money. So, and then also I maybe see the similar pattern in your business. So you can just tell how to do it. Yeah. But if somebody needs, the hand to be held while you're doing it together, and then of course the results will be, exponential from that. So you can pay for coaching services and be coach and, really reach the results. Or you can do it yourself.
Yes, exactly. If you can do it yourself, amazing. But of course, in my posts, I can only give quite of generic advice. I cannot tell you, Roman, you should now do it like that. It doesn't work. So
the story is also so unique. Everybody has such a different starting point.
Exactly. And even my advice might not apply to you. It might not be, feasible for you. So in the coaching, then it would be about you. What do you need and how can we implement that?
How is the coaching overall in the career sphere? Is it popular field? Is it a hard market to kind of, let's say, enter? What do you say to other HR specialists or talent acquisition specialists? So should they also pursue it? Because the cause is so good, because you really help people. So I bet, other people will be also like, hey, yes, let's go. We want to also help. So should they, or you would say it is like really difficult thing?
I think they should. Of course, there are a lot of coaches nowadays. There's not really a barrier to get into coaching. You can just go and call yourself a coach.
Hey, I'm a coach, pay me money.
There's no, official certificate or something that you need to do that. But if you really want to add value, then why not? And if you have to add value, and I think every one of us has to add some value. So if you want to try it, of course, that's the thing again. Do you want to communicate with people? Are you able to totally focus on the individual in front of you and take yourself back completely? And can you give them actionable advice and advance them? So these are questions that you need to ask yourself before you do that.
Yeah, so you need to have some kind of background and ability to kind of, to teach other people or to give them value.
Yes.
Another thing that I'm always sharing with everybody, and especially like, connected to our business in marketing field, that it is a lot about the iteration and the learning and becoming better through time. So I also would add to those people who want to become coaches, like, are you ready for constant learning and a constant improvement on top of yourself? Exactly. So, and then if people say, hey, maybe I don't know, maybe it is not the correct time yet. So once you know, go for that. Yeah,
but it's maybe you can try stuff out. I mean, True. I just started, I started promoting it. I had a few people who I was honored that they had trust in me, and I learn also with every client, and I don't have all the answers, but we can go at it together. Of course, I have the background knowledge from my experience. But yeah, coaching is constant learning or self-learning as well. So if that's something that you want to do, you just need to be aware that it's also a lot of time. It is.
What do you think, maybe if we turn a bit towards LinkedIn, how do you get better in LinkedIn game? So how do you get more connections, more engagement, more followers, a more bigger community, more leads to your coaching business? What's your take?
I think you need to not focus too much on followers and engagement, and because that puts a lot of pressure on yourself, and you might not even start. So if you are very, very shy, you should maybe start with commenting on what other people wrote, ask some questions that you're curious about, and gain more confidence that way maybe. If you are confident to post your own content, just do that. Maybe make a plan before, kind of structure it. Don't put everything into one post. Focus on one thing, one idea per post. And then see how it goes. And I have heard from many people, and I see it also for myself, that it's not necessarily the posts that have the most likes or the most comments that give the most value. So I might get coaching clients from posts that has like 20 likes, but get nothing from one that has 150 likes. Yeah. So LinkedIn is also changing, and they are focusing more nowadays on value and expertise rather than things that go viral.
The virality, yeah. So virality, if your post, let's say, goes viral, maybe because it could be some funny meme stuff, and then everybody gonna just like it up, and then it goes really viral. So it doesn't mean that it will bring you build your community or bring your, let's say, new clients. Resonate with that. But what you've understood worked for you? If you try to go specific, so what kind of recruitment tips or lists, or what you've noticed works for your audience?
I've noticed that personal things work very well. So if I start with something that I express some sentiment, for example, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Like these posts usually get a lot of engagement. But I've got the best feedback and the most value from posts where I share very, very specific tips and concrete, actionable things that people can do. Rather than, improve your CV and you will have better success.
Yeah, so like everybody says that.
That doesn't do a lot. But really like kind of step-by-step kind of manuals that usually work really well.
So they can be really applicable for someone's pain, and then they really generate the value in the concrete moment.
I mean, you are from marketing, so what's your take on that?
I think it's different for different audiences and different community. So this why it is interesting to, let's say, ask and then tailor the answer. So, for your audience, like certain things work. For my audience, some other things work. And then I clearly, let's say, from my audience, they also like when I share maybe some achievements. When I graduated from my master's, like the post skyrocketed. When I've lost my job and I said like, hey, I'm searching for a job. I also like really crazy engagement, and everybody is super supportive, and I'm so thankful. People really reach out to me and said, hey, we might have an opening, and The learning from there was that, let's say that people interested in people. So what's happening in life, and then they're ready to, support or celebrate together. But then also in terms of value, if I can collect certain value and make it concise in the post, it will resonate with the people with a certain pain. And then for me, it is harder because I'm searching for my niche and my real expertise, like what exactly I want to share. Because, marketing for me, it's one of the ventures. And then I have the podcast and the social thing and my social media starting, and I have other projects. So I'm on the journey. But then for our listeners, I would give a tip that try, like you said, and then fine tune, and then get better in whatever you do. So that's what I applied to myself. I'm posting every day in LinkedIn now. I'm really following what works, what not. I'm looking the feedback, looking the comments, revising my texts, trying to figure out what it should be, because I want to give more and then for better cause.
Yeah, and I think that people notice that and they reward that also in a social media sense.
In social media sense, yes. What do you think? What is your next ventures? So where you want to be in the future?
I do want to stay in recruitment.
Okay.
Even though if someone came and said, do you want to teach history at our university? And I would probably maybe go there. I don't know. No, that's not realistic.
Was it so that you have a different university degree? So you didn't study recruitment, or?
You cannot actually study recruitment.
Is there no university for that?
At least not alone.
But there is like people kind of operations or something.
You can study HR, and some of them have some recruitment, but there's no recruiter education.
But why is that? I mean, I'm sure some people wants to be, talent acquisition people.
I mean, of course, there are nowadays online courses and kind of, classes that you can pay for, and they teach you basically everything, but there's no formal education for that.
Okay.
That's why we're kind of a bunch of, from all kind of different
That's what I don't know.
But anyways, my next venture, so I want to stay in recruitment. I want to, of course, become better every day in that. Maybe at some point go into some leadership role when the time is right. Right now, I wouldn't feel it's right.
How do you feel about your coaching business? Do you want to scale it? Do you want to lead this, to the next level?
I have learned that I am not an entrepreneur, so I don't want to kind of, be full-time self-employed.
Right.
Not at all.
Okay.
I really value my employee status. But of course, I'm happy to help as many people as possible. I just want to keep it as a side business.
Okay, got it. And then, I really want to commend this, because this is why this podcast, actually, one of the reasons podcast started, because that's what I see people doing a lot, what they don't feel comfortable or what they don't really want to do. And then hearing from you when you say, because everybody says, I want to be an entrepreneur, hearing from you that you figure out for yourself, that's what you like and what you don't like, and you see, and then you pursue. So that's what will give you happiness. This is how I see it from the side.
Definitely.
So thank you very much for sharing. Either way, I hope people are listening, and then they will go and support your LinkedIn and the coaching business.
Thank you.
So where people connect with you? So where we find you?
So LinkedIn is the best. Rebekka Gotter.
Rebekka Gotter.
We can write it out.
I'll leave
everyone.
in the show notes. There will be link to your LinkedIn. I think we are walking towards wrapping up. Any final thoughts from you or any advice for the listeners?
I would give a little bit cheesy advice, maybe.
Okay, cheesy.
But we touched upon that also in the beginning, that really find your own intrinsic motivation and where you want to go. That's the most important thing.
Huge. And then so it drives you from within. I love it.
Exactly. I'll just keep it at that. Short and sweet.
And everybody
and
think further. What does it actually mean? Thank you very much, Rebekka. Thank you very much for listening. And if you have not done so, and I'm sure most of you have not done so, please press this follow and review. Thank you very much and have a great day.